Welcome everyone to our live Accelebration program, and I am here. You can see on screen I've got a very special guest with me today. So excited to have her with me, Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, and she is on a book tour. We're going to talk about her book and other incredible things. And Sadhvi, thanks so much for joining me here today. I'm going to give you a proper introduction in a second, but just shout out to you as we get started.
Oh, thank you, Steve. And it's so beautiful to be with you.
And so beautiful to be with you. And boy, viewers, we've got an hour in store that you're going to really enjoy. So let me start by shouting out also to our Humanity Stream Plus members, the friends on our Humanities Team Facebook page, the Sign Network Facebook page, Sadhvi's Facebook page. So to all of you, hey, thanks for joining us. Now, as you know, during these live programs, we can see your comments and questions and inspirations that you share on Facebook. So shout out to us, things that you'd like us to get to during the program. Be sure to post them on Facebook and we'll get to as many of your comments as we can. Humanities Team, as you know, is a global nonprofit. Our whole focus is to create conscious living worldwide by 2040. And we've created a companion initiative called PACE, where we're inviting people all over the world to pick up the pace with us. And PACE stands for Planetary Awakening and Conscious Evolution. We've created a revolutionary streaming platform with incredible conscious media that supports this initiative. It's called Humanity Stream Plus. We'll talk about that here during the program as well. Now, our theme for today's program is Divine Satsang, opening our hearts and prioritizing freedom to enhance conscious living. So what a beautiful theme. And let me give a proper introduction to Sadhvi, and let's bring her up on the screen so you can see Sadhvi as I read her introduction. So Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, also known as Sadhvi, is a best-selling author who gives keynote addresses on a wide variety of topics, ranging from conscious business to science and spirituality, to sustainable development, to the keys of happiness and peace in life, to all aspects of yoga. In her new memoir, Hollywood to the Himalayas, A Journey of Healing and Transformation, she speaks with global thought leaders including Marianne Williamson, Bruce H. Lipton, PhD, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, Marcy Shimoff, Dr. Sue Morter, Jack Canfield, Lynn McTaggart, Janet Bay Atwood, Deborah Poneman, and John Robbins about breaking free of the stress, fear, negativity, addictions, and depression that so many of us struggle with. Sadhvi is president of Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education and empowerment to women and children. She is also Secretary General of Global Interfaith WASH Alliance, launched by UNICEF, the first alliance of religious leaders for water, sanitation, and hygiene, and also director of the world-famous International Yoga Foundation. Originally from Los Angeles and a graduate of Stanford University, Sadhvi has lived in Rakesh in the Himalayas for 24 years, where she gives spiritual discourses, satsang, and meditation, and leads myriad humanitarian programs. And Sadhvi, again, welcome to the program. So wonderful to have you with us here today.
Steve, thank you so much for having me, and such a joy and such a blessing to be with you and all of our community today.
Yes, well, back at you. And boy, when we talk about creating conscious living worldwide by 2040, boy, you're out there as a pace setter making it happen. And so wonderful. Let's open up this conversation with this book that you've just come out with. It's called Hollywood to Himalayas, A Journey of Healing and Transformation. And I know this book is getting an incredible reception. It's available in bookstores now and on Amazon. If you Google it, you'll see the reception the book is getting. It's amazing. So let's just chat a little bit about this really important book. Sadhvi, what things would you share here? Because we'd love to invite our viewers to come in and read this book if they haven't already.
Sure. It's been such a beautiful opportunity to be able to share it with the world, because I've been living in India for 25 years in the sacred land called Rishikesh on the banks of Mother Ganga, right in the lap of the Himalayas. And over these 25 years, I've had such a beautiful opportunity to learn, to study, to immerse myself in spiritual study and to share, to teach, to lead. And over these years, what I've seen is that so many of the people who come, so many of the people who sit in our evening satsang, which literally means, we'll talk more about satsang later, but literally it means in the presence of truth. And so many of the people who come and who sit each evening and ask questions that I have the great blessing to have answers flow through me that I can share with them, they seem to think that I have been cut kind of from a different cloth. And I've heard people say things like, well, you couldn't really understand this or that. Or, well, I know you don't think like this, or you don't struggle with this, but, and the dilemma with thinking like that is A, it isn't true, but B, it actually keeps people from realizing, recognizing, and stepping up to the incredible possibility for their freedom in their life, to simply put me on a pedestal, to put me as someone who is cut from a different cloth, someone who is somehow different in a way that makes these things possible for me, but not for you, deprives you of the very birthright, of the very reason for your birth, which is for you to experience, to know the truth of who you are, for you to experience freedom, for you to experience oneness with the divine. And so 25 years into a life in Rishikesh, 21 years into a life of celibate renunciation, a monastic path, about 15 years into teaching and leading, I finally realized people really need to know actually my story so that they realize she's not cut from a different cloth. She didn't come out of the womb like this. She understands struggle and pain, suffering, trauma, and she's been blessed with this experience of awakening, this experience of grace that actually can be everyone's. And so I wrote the book to give people, obviously, an enjoyable time. It's a great story how I came as this 25-year-old white Jewish Californian woman with a backpack to India because her husband was on a spiritual quest. I was not. And yet had this incredible, unanticipated, ununderstood, unconsciously sought for spiritual awakening experience on the banks of this sacred river. And then had so many incredible experiences of literally hearing voices, literally getting my feet stuck to the pavement in the ashram and not being able to leave. Experiences that made me know that's where I'm meant to be, that's where I'm meant to live. And the last 25 years of experiences of incredible spiritual ecstasy and expansion and oneness and melting and merging into that capital T truth. And also experiences of challenge and experiences of facing the layers of the ego layer by layer, each time thinking, okay, I'm done now. And then another layer appearing, arising, showing itself, and facing that. But along the way, doing so with the awareness that was given to me at the very beginning of the truth of who I am, which is one with the divine. And that experience of a fullness, a perfection that was the exact antithesis of how I had spent the first 25 years of my life, which was pretty much hating myself, suffering deeply from the experiences, the very traumatic experiences that I had had in early childhood, suffering with eating disorder and addictions and all just being mired in that which so many of us are mired in, which is this knowing that we are supposed to be free, but not actually knowing where it's going to come from. And so thinking it's going to come from a bottle or from something you smoke or something you inhale or a Mrs. Fields cookie or whatever it may be that's going to be our life raft out of the pain we're in. And that was how I lived a lot of the first 25 years. And
video. Okay, so, and I think Sadhvi is off camera. She's coming in, by the way, live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's just about 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. I'm coming to you live from our Boulder, Colorado Humanities Team studio. So when you do these things live, you're going to have little glitches like this. Apologies. Wow, though, now this book sounds pretty astounding, doesn't it? This book is just out from Sadhvi, and it's talking about her journey from Hollywood to the Himalayas and into this whole life of living as one with the divine and each other and all of life, and which is what the Humanities Team work is all about. So what a fantastic book. I haven't read it yet, but I will read it, and I invite you to check it out as well. Go to Amazon or your bookstore and check it out. It sounds like a great book. So Sadhvi will be back on camera here in a moment. Again, when you're doing these things live, and she's coming in from Pittsburgh, I'm coming in from Boulder, we're also going to be showing media here as we're broadcasting out to Facebook pages. We're going to have little glitches like this. We're real excited to have Sadhvi here with us. She's on a book tour across the United States now. As she mentioned, she lives in the Himalayas and has for, it'll be 25 years in September that she's lived in the Himalayas, where she does this deeply spiritual work and leads these nonprofits and gives lectures and creates educational programs. She is absolutely a leader, a pace setter in this whole area of conscious living. And I love that what she's sharing is that she isn't like cut from a different cloth. She's come back to that theme several times here. None of us are, right? We're all just emanations of the one, which we call the divine and humanities team, but we could just as easily call it emanations of universe or love or life or the cosmos. We are that, right? We're vibrational beings, and it's all about what are we going to bring into matter, So what truly matters that we're going to take as energy and manifest into matter. and into matter. And Sadhvi has, one of the things that she's been working on here recently is this incredible book that she's brought into matter, where it's about this journey of hers from Hollywood, where she lived in Southern California for her first 25 years, to the Himalayas, where she's doing the incredible work that she's doing. Now, she was just on camera with me, so I think we're in the process of bringing her back.
She's having some technical issues on her end.
Okay, so we got a couple of, let's do this let's cut to, I want to just share, now Sadhvi has placed some incredible content of hers. The content is called Divine Satsang Collection, and she's placed it on our Humanity Stream Plus platform, which is this revolutionary platform that goes even further than Netflix or Amazon Prime. Go figure. Because you can you can see all of these incredible master classes and transformational education programs. And when you cursor over, you can actually see all of the modules down within each of the educational programs. And we're not, it's passé to do education from your computer. Most of us are tired at the end of the day, and on weekends we don't want to sit in front of our computer. We can come in from Roku or Amazon Prime or Apple TV or something. All of those platforms are this Humanity Stream Plus is hosted on, and my wife and I watch from Roku. So Sadhvi's program just came in and is being hosted on this platform. It's called the Divine Satsang Collection, and you can see it right here on the screen. If you go to humanitiesteam.org/stream, humanitiesteam with a Y, humanitiesteam.org/stream, you'll see Sadhvi's new program. It's right there on the screen there. It's called the Divine Satsang Collection. There's a 7-day free trial. So what we're inviting you to do here today is go to this platform if you like the idea, and there are amazing master classes, hundreds of master classes that are available. We're adding new content every single week. So you're gonna, you aren't gonna be able to keep up with it. It's a 12-month subscription for $497, which is only a little more than the price of one masterclass. That's a little more than $1 a day. What we invite you to do here during today's program is sign up for the 7-day free trial. Check out this Divine Satsang Collection. Sadhvi is an amazing teacher and leader in this whole area of conscious living, of transformational education. And I know you'll enjoy her programs. You can see we're just cursoring over them. You can see how a little summary comes up for each of the educational modules. Again, even Amazon Prime and Netflix don't do this. So this is a revolutionary platform that truly is amazing, and you can watch from your bedroom or your living room or your porch or anywhere you might be traveling to. So, and today we want to invite you to check out Sadhvi's collection, the Divine Satsang Collection. You'll be amazed. Now, and again, check it out with a 7-day free trial, and then there's a 7-day guarantee after that. So you've got 2 weeks where it's on us before you're charged anything. Let's go to a video here from this collection. Now, this is a 3.5-minute video. It's with Sadhvi and Deva Premal, and they talk about opening their heart and prioritizing freedom to be who we are. I know you're going to enjoy this video clip, and then we're working to bring Sadhvi back on screen with us. So we'll be talking with her about this clip here in just a moment. So let's go to that video clip if we can here, Jim.
In order to really be free, the first and most important thing is to actually ask yourself, is freedom more important to me than having a ready-made excuse? Because freedom's going to take away that ready-made excuse. And what that means is then if you don't show up in love, in truth, in compassion, you're not going to have a ready-made excuse. And that's when you get to just say, okay, God, give me the strength to show up better tomorrow. Thank you, God, for the sun that rises tomorrow, so I have another opportunity. But we then have to acknowledge it. So step number 1 is just open the heart and really commit yourself that freedom is your highest goal. More than having an identity, more than having a ready-made excuse, more than living in a box of predetermined habitual reactions to the world. Because also what freedom requires of us then is every minute we're responding to that moment. When you're stuck in an identity, you've got these kind of ready-made, like, this is how I interact with the worldness. And that's easier than having to show up in presence and in consciousness and in awareness with every moment. So we decide that freedom is our highest goal, more important than any identity, any box, any preconceived notion, any ready-made excuse. Number 2, anchor yourself in love. That for me has just been the key. And Deva, that's one of the reasons that I love being with you so much, because it feels like such a love fest. And for me, love is the way to experience that presence of God, that presence of truth, that ashram within.
Okay, that was a video cut from Deva's, one of Deva's programs that are on Humanity Stream Plus. It's called the Divine Satsang Collection. You'll see it right there at the top of additional transformational education. These programs just came on here in the last few days, and we want to invite you to come in and check it out for free on our platform. Do it from Roku or from Amazon Prime. You know, sit in your bedroom or your living room or on your porch. Don't sit in front of your computer. Come on, hey. This is 2021. We've moved beyond that. So great to have you back with us, Sadhvi. So sorry for the technical difficulties.
Sorry. Yeah, it's so interesting because as we learn, as we get, more and more familiar and accustomed to all of the different modalities, it's actually such a great lesson to just keep reminding us that no matter how many things we think we've set, no matter how many things you think you've planned for, prepared for, nonetheless, the universe has its own plans, its own way. And so many of us move through our lives as though the way to manage our stress, the way to manage our discomfort, the way to manage our frustration, the way to manage our anxieties is to just get everything really, really, really set. But that takes the universe out of the equation. And you can't do that. So it doesn't actually work. And so I actually love moments like this because it's this great reminder from the universe that, oh yeah, you can have this whole big tech setup. And then I don't know what happened to the camera. For some reason, it just stopped working and we had to change cameras. And it's such a great just reminder that it's not about managing everything outside. It's not about ensuring that this is set, that is set. It's actually about ensuring that inside we are set so that when inevitably the metaphoric cameras or lights or microphone or internet connection or computer or whatever it may be in our lives goes out of whack, we are still set. We're still grounded, we're still anchored, and we're able to kind of flow and play with the malfunctions of the universe that are not malfunctions. but that are just the
Amen.
universe acting the way that the universe does.
Yeah, boy, let's take some deep breaths. I mean, we can talk and talk and talk about conscious living, or just as Sadhvi's inviting us, we can just feel into it like right now in this very moment. And Sadhvi talked about her first 25 years and as a Stanford student heading to India. And I was in Silicon Valley as a technology entrepreneur, starting and growing companies. And boy, this boom, this whole invitation that Sadhvi's describing opened up to me. This was in the 90s. And it was like, oh my goodness, like there's a much better dream than the American dream, a bigger, better, more.
Yeah.
We want to talk prosperity. Boy, there's real prosperity, which is what Sadhvi's talking about here now, where we're just present here and now. Yeah.
That's one of the things that struck me, Steve, so much actually about India, because as I said, I didn't know that I was going on a spiritual path. I was not consciously seeking or searching. I had bought in many ways, actually, to the equation we're given that if you want to be happy, if you want to live in peace, you need to look this way, get this type of education, have this type of home in this area of town. I mean, I was only 25, but up until that part of my life, whether it was social status, whether it was academic success, whether it was fashion, whether it was what my body should look like, I had really bought into the cultural sense of if you want to be happy, you need to own this, look like this, achieve this, go here, vacation here. And when I got to India, after I had that experience I was telling you about on standing on the banks of the sacred Ganga River, what we in English, here we say the Ganges, but actually it's the Sanskrit word is Ganga, the Ganga River. After I had that experience and so many other experiences that made me know this is where I'm meant to be, I looked around me and I looked at the children and the people who in so many cases had nothing. I mean, they lived so far below Western standards of poverty, and yet they were happy. And it's, when you were saying, Steve, about these ideas of prosperity, it was such a shock to me to look at these people who literally didn't have shoes and yet had a light in their eyes and a joy in their life that no one I knew growing up in Hollywood, growing up in Beverly Hills, growing up in a world of privilege and opportunity. We had everything, but we didn't have that light in our eyes. And these kids with nothing, or with nothing tangible in our Western way of understanding that, nonetheless, they had this light in their eyes. And I remember saying, there is a secret here. And I need to stay here long enough to find it. I need to figure out what is this secret that makes these people so happy. And as I experienced and learned and drank and swam in the truth and the teachings and the culture and the wisdom, that knowing became my knowing. And of course, then it wasn't just a matter of find the secret and leave. It was, oh, so this is what life is about. And so you stay. So it's been an extraordinary 25 years there in India of learning, deep learning, not just academic learning. It was very clear to me from the beginning that I was not sent there on an academic exercise. I had come in from Palo Alto, from the San Francisco Bay Area, where there's innumerable places that one could learn about Eastern philosophy, about Hinduism, about the Vedas. So much you could learn. And that was 25 years ago. I knew God has sent me here not just for an academic experience, but for a very deep life experience. And so the learning that I did was done just by immersing myself in the culture, in the wisdom, in the teachings. And as those teachings became mine, whether it was teachings of learning to let go, learning to forgive, such deep forgiveness that breaks that karmic cord that binds you to the one who harmed you. Such deep forgiveness that literally all of the tension in that cord just dissipates and you're free. Such deep letting go of the identity as the one who had experienced this pain, who had experienced these struggles, who had experienced this trauma. And sitting in an experience of the self that doesn't actually end here, that isn't about a size or a shape or a color or a race or a religion, but that is actually about spirit and soul and love and energy, and that is one with all. So that's been the Hollywood to the Himalayas journey, and it's been such a gift to have the book come out, because it's got, of course, that physical arc of my particular journey from Hollywood to the Himalayas via Stanford. And that journey is exciting and it's an adventure, and you'll laugh, you'll cry, it'll open up a world for you. But there's another arc, and that's the arc of the way of thinking that has nothing to do with a physical journey, because for people reading the book, it's very likely that their physical arc is not going to be an arc from LA to Rishikesh via Stanford now for the rest of their lives. Some may come like that, but for most people, your dharma is something different. Your life package is something different. But the arc of a changing of how we think from what you could call the Hollywood way of thinking, of this is who I am, my height, my weight, my skin color, my bank account, my sexual orientation, my career, to more of what you could call the Himalayan way of thinking, which is you have a body, you have a role that you're playing, but you're not the body. You're not the role, you're not the drama. You are the soul, the spirit, you are love. You are truth, you are consciousness. And that experience, that freedom that Deva and I were talking about, is something that is available for everyone, regardless of what physical arc your life may take. And so that was really the agenda for me in writing the book, was in addition to just sharing this incredible spiritual adventure, was to share how people's own way of thinking can shift, how their own life patterns can shift, how they can find freedom in letting go and forgiveness.
Let me share. So we were talking in our green room before we came on camera, and I was telling Sadhvi, this is just, this is the way the universe works. Of course, the divine is everything happens in perfect timing. We don't even have to plan it. It just unfolds that way. And And in today's world with COVID and with climate change and with polarity in Afghanistan and things, as we know, because there are media accounts of this, there's a stirring going on. People are leaving high-paid jobs for purposeful jobs. People are examining their close relationships. People are feeling into their deeper values. There's a stirring going on, and the stirring is so hopeful, and it has so much possibility. And then boom, along comes this book from Sadhvi, Hollywood to the Himalayas, a journey of healing and transformation. That's all about the stirring, that's saying, hey, here's the invitation in its fullness. And Sadhvi's putting words to it, actually talking very personally about her journey and all of what it was in those first 25 years and these latter 25 years where she's based herself in the Himalayas. So, wow, take advantage of this. This book is amazing. Her Divine Satsang collection is amazing. That's free here for the next week. So check these things out. Now, this last half hour of Accelebration, as you know, our Humanity Stream, the Plus members, we invite them to come on screen if they want, to pose questions if they like. I know there are a number of them here with us. Let me go to one of their questions here. Joanne brings in this question, Sadhvi. It's, can you ask her where the idea came from for the name of her book? Did she come up with it? So this, you want to respond to that question, Sadhvi?
Sure. So my guru is, well, he's amazing in a whole variety of capacities, but one of the ways that he's amazing is in play on words. And so he will frequently say things like, do you want to be in peace or in pieces? Do you want to be better or bitter? Don't ask what for me, but ask what through me. Or go on Facebook if you want, no problem, but don't forget to face your book. And so he gives these very, very deep teachings in these very cute kind of rhymey ways. He loves language. He speaks a lot of languages. And so he's always kind of playing with the semantics of words to give a teaching. So from the beginning, he was always saying, you've come from Hollywood to the holy woods, and from Hollywood to the holy woods. And that was always what he would say. And then and in fact, my TED Talk was titled From Hollywood to the Holy Woods. And there have been all sorts of films and things like that made titled From Hollywood to the Holy Woods. And when it came time for the book, then we were talking about it. And he said, people won't really know what holy woods means. So we should be more specific. And he said it should be Hollywood to the Himalayas. So it actually came divinely inspired by my guru with a great gift, in addition to the spiritual magic of who he is, a great gift for playing with the words of language.
Beautiful. So now this is from your Facebook page, Sadhvi. As you know, we're broadcasting live right now to your Facebook page, Humanities Team Facebook pages, over 60 Facebook pages. So thanks to the Sign Network, and a shout out to John Raymer. So on your page, Sadhvi, Dirk Hennessy shares such wisdom in each breath. The fragrance of peace is palpable. So not a question, but a comment. So thank you for coming in with that, Dirk. I feel that also. This is what's beautiful about having Sadhvi on this program is, it's one thing to just kind of yak and just be mouthing words. It's another to really be bringing the expression of conscious living, of love, of peace, of truth through. And you certainly can feel that here with you during this program, Sadhvi. So thank you for bringing that in, Dirk. Now, Jerry says, how do we bring the holy woods to Hollywood?
Great question. So whether it's Hollywood or whether it's the holy woods of the Himalayas, they have the ability to impact us when we take them into our minds. So if your mind is anchored in the Hollywoods, for example, and you land in Hollywood, it's not that suddenly you're going to become super materialistic and, want to suddenly go shopping or suddenly get, cosmetic surgery or something. It only has the ability to impact us when we actually take it in. And so the way to bring the Hollywoods to Hollywood, which is actually for me what is one of the core aims of the book, is to help people living in Hollywood, whether quite literally Hollywood or just what we think of as the Hollywood way of living, the Hollywood way of thinking, that happiness and joy and peace come from getting more, buying more, earning more, obtaining more, achieving more. That somehow my success has to push you out of the way as though we were separate beings. That idea that somehow there's only one small pie of happiness, of success, of joy, and every bite you take out of it is a bite less left for me. So I better grab and gobble the whole thing. That's a Hollywood way of thinking. It's also a Hollywood way of thinking that we are lacking in some way. Every single billboard, commercial, advertisement is geared to convince us that we are lacking in some way, and that whatever they're going to sell us is going to fill that gap and make us no longer lacking. Whether they sell handbags or mobiles or cars or a brand of alcohol or a vacation, it's all geared to make us feel like that will fill what is wrong with me. That will give me what is empty in me. But first, they have to convince us that there is something wrong with us, something not enough in us. And while we certainly don't buy every single thing that we see a billboard for, every single ad that we see, we don't click here 100% of the time. We do buy the message. And the message is, you are not enough. There is something you need to buy, earn, have, achieve, become in order to be worthy of being happy, in order to be worthy of grace, in order to live a full life. And so we go through our lives feeling lacking, no matter how many click heres we do, no matter how much we buy, we feel lacking. And that for me was what I really embodied at 25. I mean, on the outside, I had everything. You could look at me and say, wow, this girl's got it all. Here I was, I had graduated from Stanford. I was in the midst of a PhD program. I was taking 21 units a quarter, getting straight A's, really excelling, volunteering on the side. And yet inside, I was miserable because I was convinced that there was something inherently wrong with me. And the Hollywoods way of thinking is who you are, is full, is whole, is complete, is perfect, is divine, because you've been created, not just by the Creator, but of the Creator. And so to bring the Hollywoods into Hollywood simply means, regardless of where we're sitting, let us change our way of thinking. And instead of buying into the Hollywood way of thinking, let us adapt the Hollywoods, the Himalayan way of thinking. Let us remember that who we are is whole and complete and pure and divine and sacred. When we look at each other, let us see each other as divine. You know, when you say namaste, namaste literally means the divine within me bows to the divine within you. But since there's only one divine, really what it means is I am bowing to me in you. Or you in me is bowing to you in you. Or just God is bowing to God. However you think about it. Right? It's connecting us. It's changing your way of thinking.
Yeah, I'm so connecting with you, Sadhvi, and I want to share too, you know, in my experience in Silicon Valley, where I was there in the midst of all of that financial wealth, but also in something called Forum, where we would then go into private rooms and speak confidentially of our life with our partner and with our kids and in our workspace. And boy, I can tell you, where there is incredible financial wealth, there is incredible dysfunction. You know, it is not the American dream people think that it is. It is not. And many, where you speak with them, will share honestly that this is true. And our real prosperity are these things that Sadhvi's talking about, where we just take the time to, with our spiritual practice, whatever that might be, you know, meditation or prayer, or walking in nature, or painting, or listening to music. There's so many ways, but where the stillness, you know, where we're embracing the stillness, and where that the divine that Sadhvi's so beautifully bringing to words here, and how she/he expresses through us, where we feel it, where we become connected to us, and our life becomes an extension of it. And this is the real dream. This is the real prosperity. And oh my goodness, once we get a taste of it, we'll never go back to this other journey where it's all mirages, you know, where you keep going out and then it's not there. It's for, you know, just keep chasing these mirages is what it is. So beautiful. Sadhvi, let me, there are tons of questions coming in here, so thank you, viewers. Boy, we've got lots of interaction. We aren't going to be able to get to all of these questions, but thank you. And if there are any Stream Plus members that want to come on screen, so Sadhvi can see you, we can bring you on screen. So don't be shy if any of you want to put your hand up. We're set up to bring you on screen. Meanwhile, I'll just get to these all these questions that are pouring in. So. One of them says, some believe that devoting oneself to a spiritual path, this is Maggie's question, requires sacrifice. Would you please speak to that, Sadhvi?
Absolutely, it requires sacrifice. It requires sacrifice of the part of you that is attached to not living a spiritual path. So it's not about I won't do this or go here or have that. I've taken official monastic vows of celibacy. But there is nowhere any rule that says that in order to be spiritual, you have to be a monastic. That was my dharma. But that's not the dharma of the vast majority of people. So there's nowhere anywhere that says in order to be spiritual, you can't be in relationship. You can't have a job. You can't, enjoy a nice cup of hot tea. You can't enjoy a movie. You can't enjoy music. There's nothing anywhere that says you have to give up the world. What you have to give up, though, is your directional focus on the way you're going to move through the world. Because there's only really two directions to interact with the world from. One is the material way, which says, I am this body. This is who I am. Its size, its shape, its color, its race, its religion, its bank account, its history. You are that body over there. its color, its size, its shape, its race, its religion. And we are separate. And what that does is it makes you an object to me, either an object I can use for my own pleasure or to help me achieve my goals, or you are an object that is somehow a hurdle on my path and must be removed. This is a worldview that causes great suffering in ourselves. We feel empty, we feel alone, we feel depressed, we feel separate, disconnected. Life is meaningless, we're bored. The other way of living is the way that says, I have a body, but I am spirit. You have a body, you are spirit. It's like what I was saying about namaste. That which flows through me flows through you. There is no place I end and you begin. That's the spiritual worldview. So in order to be spiritual, the only thing you really have to sacrifice is an attachment to the belief that you are your body, that you are your history, that you are your drama, and embrace the fact that you're not. And the rest of it, as you go deeper on a spiritual path, what you'll find is that a lot of the things that you do right now, automatically you will no longer be interested in. Automatically, they'll no longer hold that appeal for you. But spirituality does not mean repression, suppression, denial. It's an embrace of something, much more than an abdication of something else.
Yeah, boy, let me just say, and of course you went full circle with that, and if we could even cut through and say there's no sacrifice in the sense that the prosperity, the love, the life that will open up to you, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
truly, this is the invitation in life. It's why Sadhvi's life is all about, conscious living, and our humanities team with all of our partners, Sadhvi is a key partner, and others, it's all about conscious living, where we open to the bounty and the fruit and the beauty and the blessing of conscious living, because it is extraordinary. And once you get a taste of it, you never go back. And let me just also say, so just like gravity is real, what we're describing is ultimate reality. Now, we can ignore gravity if we want and watch a spoon drop and other, gravity, it plays out all over the planet. We can ignore it at our peril and say, well, I don't want to pay attention to spiritual living or conscious living. We can ignore this just like we can ignore gravity, but we can't ignore the consequences of that decision that we make. So which is why we're broadcasting live every single week to bring in these stories. We're blessed to have Sadhvi here in the United States on her book tour to share of her life and her book and her teachings. We're blessed that she's a partner here with this incredible Divine Satsang collection. We cut to that little 2.5-minute segment where she was speaking to Deva Premal, who, as you know, boy, she's a real icon in the space when you talk about music that brings through beautiful conscious expression. Oh my goodness, Deva's music is extraordinary. So there again are just tons of questions here. We only have 3 minutes, so we're going to only have time to get to one more. So apologies to you all that are bringing in questions. Anne brought in a question. Ray has a question. I'm going to get to Kanthi's question. Kanthi Tantridge. I'll bring in her question. Thank you to other viewers, and I'm sorry we can't get to all of your questions now, but we're grateful you're watching the program.
We'll do another one. We'll do another one just of questions.
We'll do another one soon. Absolutely. And we can bring in Sadhvi from India, just like this. So that's what's cool about this technology, is we can do these live programs. It's going to be maybe the middle of the night, so we'll have to figure out we'll have to talk about
We'll
that.
work something out. We'll work it out.
We'll work something out. Good. So here's Kathy's question. She says, where can we start our spiritual journey and our daily practice, please?
Beautiful. Start it right here, right now, in this breath. Because as you take your breath, recognize that that which is flowing into you connects you with everything. You are breathing in that sacred life force that we're told by physicists came out of the Big Bang. All of that energy in the universe right now, the energy that makes us up, the energy we breathe in, it's all the energy that has existed forever. We are not separate from that. And as you breathe it in, just know that you are breathing in the energy of the universe. And as you breathe it out, know that you are breathing out into the universe, that you are now the breath into the universe. And as you anchor yourself in that breath, know and feel the boundaries of your physical body dissolve. There isn't time in the next, 2 minutes to lead a long meditation, but you can do it on your own. As you meditate, as you breathe, just know that the very boundaries of the self are dissolving. And experience that sense of oneness with all. That there is no inner and there is no outer. It's just breathing. And then as you open your eyes and move through the world, practice namaste. Whoever you see, wherever you go, can you see yourself in them? And it's such a beautiful practice because my physical body can connect with your physical body, whether in, a sexual, sensual way, or whether in a way where we're playing tennis, or we're shaking hands, or, we're passing a bottle of water, whatever it may be. My physical body connects with your physical body. My intellectual mind connects with your intellectual mind. We have a conversation, we debate, we discuss. But if I'm going to connect to your soul, your spirit, your essence, I can only do it from my soul, spirit, essence. So as you do namaste, it's this beautiful opportunity from within to connect with that divinity within yourself and then bow to that divinity, that same divinity in the being in front of you. And whether it's an employer, an employee, a family member, the person checking you out at the grocery store, people you meet as you cross them on the sidewalk. In a way, COVID's been great. Now people like namaste anyway because you're not supposed to shake hands. So, you don't have to explain yourself anyway. It's a beautiful way to move through the world physically healthily and spiritually healthily. And it's just an easy practice you can do all day, every day.
Okay, boy, beautiful. And that will be the last word because we've already gone a few minutes over. Thank you so much. We're with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati. She's on a book tour here, the It's called Hollywood to the Himalayas: A Journey of Healing and Transformation, available in bookstores now. She's actually promoting the book. There it is. Thank you for holding that up, Sadhvi. So this is her book. Check it out. And also, I want to invite you, go to the humanitiesteam.org website, where, again, we're a global nonprofit organization, humanitiesteam.org, spelled with a Y. You can learn more about Sadhvi and her work and her incredible programs that are now hosted on the site. And Global Oneness Summit is coming up, which is all about these things that Sadhvi's been discussing, that we actually are all one with the divine, each other, and all of life, and how we can live into the fullness of that. So check us out at humanitiesteam.org. Thank you so much, viewers, for spending your part of your Friday afternoon with us, at least those of you in the United States, and then people in Japan were already over on Saturday. We had Bruce Lipton with us once, and he was coming in from New Zealand. So I was saying, it's Friday, and Bruce was saying, no, it's Saturday, so there is no such thing as time. Hey, thank you all so much for being here with us. We've got another special guest next week. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. Namaste to all of you. And Sadhvi, thanks again for being with us, and we wish you just Godspeed with your book tour. And may the world check out your book. It shares so much wisdom and inspiration in your personal life story that you share there. So thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next week. Okay. Namaste, everybody. Love and peace and blessings.